You are doing everything right. You read the books, you bought the little seat, you set aside a whole weekend, and somehow, your toddler is still not there yet. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet, unfair thought surfaces. Is it because I work? Is this my fault? I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes because there is actual science on this, and it does not say what you are afraid it says. What it says is so much kinder than that. There is a real phenomenon at play here, and once you understand it, I promise that thought loses most of its sting. Researchers call it delayed toilet training completion. And the key word is completion, not failure, not damage, just a difference in timing shaped by the architecture of your daily life, not by how much you love your child or how hard you are trying. Here is where the science comes in, and this is the part I really want you to hear. A team at the Universidade Federal de Juiz de Fora in Brazil interviewed 372 parents, specifically parents of children who had already finished toilet training, gathering real data on what factors shaped when that milestone happened. They conducted those interviews at school pickup lines and public parks, which means these were real families, in real life, not a controlled lab. What they found was this. Children whose mothers worked outside the home were 1.8 times more likely to finish toilet training later. Not children who were harmed, not children who were behind developmentally, just children who crossed the finish line on a slightly different schedule. And here is the finding that should sit with you even more than that number. Completing toilet training later had absolutely no association with bladder problems or constipation down the road. None. The age it happened did not predict any negative health outcome. The average age of completion across the whole study was around 2 years and 7 months. But that was an average, which means plenty of children went well beyond that, and they were fine. Picture this. It is a Tuesday morning. You have 45 minutes before daycare drop-off, and you are trying, again, to get your 3-year-old to sit on the potty before you leave. She wiggles off immediately. You redirect, you offer the sticker chart, you use the voice that is warm, but also slightly desperate. She is not having it. You buckle her into her car seat, drive to daycare, hand her off to her teachers, and spend the next 8 hours wondering if they are getting further with her than you are. And then you wonder if that is the problem. That moment, that specific ache, is what this research is actually describing. It is not describing a failure in your parenting. It is describing the physics of time. When you are working full days, the windows you have for the slow, repetitive, stay-home-all-morning work of toilet training are genuinely narrower. The research from Universidade Federal de Juiz de Fora did not frame working mothers as doing something wrong. It framed employment as a structural factor, a reality that shapes the conditions of training, not the quality of the parent doing it. So let me say it plainly. This is not a discipline failure. It is not a sign that your child is struggling. It is not evidence that you are less present or less capable. It is a timing difference produced by the very real fact that you are sustaining your family and your career at the same time. That is not a flaw in the system. That is the system. Now, knowing that, here is what you can actually do with this. Practical, grounded in what the research tells us about how timing and consistency shape this process. First, compress your consistency windows instead of trying to train across the whole week. Pick 2 or 3 mornings on the weekend and go deep. Same routine, same language, same potty every 30 minutes. Consistency within a shorter window is more powerful than scattered attempts across 7 days. Second, create a handoff ritual with your childcare provider. You are not outsourcing the training. You are extending it. Write down exactly what you do at home, the words you use, the timing, the reward. When the approach matches across environments, your child's brain connects the dots faster. Third, take the pressure off the calendar. The study found that the average completion age was 2 years and 7 months, but that is a mean, not a deadline. The children who finished later had no worse outcomes. Give yourself and your child permission to be on your timeline, not a milestone chart someone else printed. Fourth, talk to your child's pediatrician if you are worried, but know that only about 5% of the parents in this study ever sought medical advice about toilet training. And the vast majority of children completed it without any professional intervention at all. You are likely already in that majority. Here is the reframe I want to leave you with. For years, the cultural story around potty training and working mothers has been framed as a gap, something missing, some deficit of time or attention. But what this research actually shows is that your child is learning to read your world. A world where schedules are real, where not every morning is open-ended, where they have to hold a little more complexity than a child whose days are simpler. That is not a disadvantage. That is a child learning to be flexible, to trust multiple caregivers, and to eventually, and they will, get there. The science says so. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are a working mother doing an extraordinarily hard thing, and you cared enough about your child to spend your lunch break or your commute or your rare quiet minute trying to understand this better. That already puts you so far ahead of where you are afraid you are. If this helped you feel even a little less alone in this, hit subscribe. We do this every week. One real study, one real struggle, one real reframe. And I want to ask you one thing in the comments. What is the hardest part of potty training while working? The timing, the consistency, the guilt? Tell me below. I read every single one.